this is the last day I'm going to comment when I pick up the reading and when I close the reading, because it plays on a playlist and they're short little bites, so it's very intrusive, I think, to the reading. So I will not be commenting on future readings. Since the ego is only a belief, Jesus emphatically tells us, do not be afraid of the ego. It depends on your mind, and as you made it by believing it, so you can dispel it by withdrawing belief from it. We are terrified of the ego, its guilt, and a projected world and body, forgetting they are but false beliefs, bad dreams that never left their source in the deluded mind of the dreamer. Who but the insane could fear what does not exist, especially 7853. Do not project the responsibility for your belief in it onto anyone else, or you will preserve the belief. This is the projection's purpose. We made a fragmented world of seemingly infinite pieces, each containing the personal world we call life, so we could project responsibility for the disease that comes from deciding for the ego, the dis-ease that comes from deciding for the ego. Projection ensures that we will never return to the mind and choose again. 854. When you are willing to accept sole responsibility for the ego's existence, you will have laid aside all anger and all attack, because they come from an attempt to project responsibility for your own errors. We can see why everyone here, individuals and world leaders alike, loves to attack, criticize, and condemn. We need scapegoats on whose sinful heads we project responsibility for our having chosen against God. If we look at our earliest memories, we can clearly recognize how we attribute our well-being and dis-ease to others, beginning with parents or parental surrogates. The ego's world was made as a place to find enemies and quote-unquote friends. Indeed, there is no way to conceive of this world without these special partners, a person or group we hate or love, and it only takes one such object to fulfill the ego's purpose for projection. The good news is that when we undo the mind's decision for the ego that is the source of all projection, the need to attack ourselves and others is gone. 871-3. The whole purpose of this course is to teach you that the ego is unbelievable and will forever be unbelievable. You who made the ego by believing the unbelievable cannot make this judgment alone. By accepting the atonement for yourself, you are deciding against the belief that you can be alone, thus dispelling the idea of separation and affirming your true identification with the whole kingdom as literally part of you. This again expresses why the ego is afraid of our accepting the atonement. We would realize we are no longer separated from anyone, and that our reality is part of the wholeness of the kingdom, a totality that embraces the entire sonship, without exception. How then could we be alone, and let alone separated from each other and from God? There is no statement the ego fears more than the following. The ego cannot prevail against a totality that includes God, and any totality must include God. Everything He created is given all His power because it is part of Him and shares His being with Him. Since we are God's created Son, we share His power to create, reflected in distorted fashion within the dream by the mind's power to choose. The right-minded exercise of this power is the basis of the ego's fear, because its separated self cannot exist within the totality of God and His Son. The ego opposes any and all attempts to listen to the Holy Spirit, knowing that the inevitable outcome would be the end of the conflict that is the ego. Obey the Holy Spirit and you will be giving up the ego, but you will be sacrificing nothing. On the contrary, you will be gaining everything. If you believed this, there would be no conflict. Here is the ego's lie exposed, for it has promised us everything by dint of our decision for freedom. It never lets us realize that we have in fact traded everything for nothing, and that the fear of God is born from a non-existent conflict that need not be resolved, only chosen against, as Jesus continues to explain. I said before that you are the will of God. His will is not an idle wish, and your identification with His will is not optional, since it is what you are. Sharing His will with me is not really open to choice, though it may seem to be. The whole separation lies in this error. The only way out of the error is to decide that you do not have to decide anything. Everything has been given you by God's decision. That is His will, and you cannot undo it. The ego fears our deciding against the mind's prior decision, which is tantamount to renouncing the ego's idle wishes and accepting the will of God that is our self. This returns us to the non-dualistic state of heaven, in which there is nothing to decide or wish for. With this understanding of the ego's real fear, the power of the mind to choose against it, we turn to the ego's strategy, the goal of which is to preserve its separated self by rendering the Son of God mindless.